Welcome to the Agency Bud podcast. On the show, we talk to CEOs and founders, agency owners and business people about the challenges they've overcome and the steps they've taken to get to where they are. You can follow along at podcast.agencybud.com. On the show, we're going to be talking to somebody amazing. We're going to introduce that person in just a second. Don't forget to check out agencybud.com. Add in our software to your business and increase your recurring revenue with agencybud.com. Let's go and meet today's special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. We are talking to someone who this morning is a rock star. The person we're about to interview is described, or in fact has run a program called The Ideal Rebel. He's run a full service digital marketing agency and is now the president and CEO of the Hey Brian media company up in Vancouver. He's a keynote speaker and he's a worldwide knowledge source on growth, on business, on marketing. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Lance Montgomery. Lance, thanks for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you with us, man. Now, you've transitioned through a few different areas of business, but you've always been focused on that entrepreneur kind of model. How did you get started in that space?
Yeah, my career path is not your average career path. I kind of bounced around. I was one of those kids at an early age who didn't really know what they wanted to do. And it took me a while to figure it out. And, I think in going through my business career, I always knew I wanted to work for myself. And I think going through the steps I did really taught me how to be an entrepreneur and what it took to be an entrepreneur. And that's what got me to where I am today.
Nice, fantastic. So what was the first kind of realization that you had where you said, I can do this for myself. This is what my calling really is?
I used to sit in boardrooms and meetings and stare at these people and CEOs and senior level executives and, look at them and always question myself, why can't I do that? I'm not a big fan of punching a clock. I don't like 9 to 5. I don't like somebody barking down my back and, on me about performance. I want to build an environment that I feel is enjoyable to work in and do something that I enjoy doing. So that was always the thing for me, is how do I get to that point?
Nice. Now, I know that you focus, your commentary says that you focus on building award-winning teams with the businesses that you set up and focus. So from that background where you're sitting in the boardrooms looking at the CEOs who are performance, how has that changed your position as the CEO or the founder of these companies? What kind of a boss are you with the teams that you're growing?
Well, I think it's one thing to empower your team to do what they need to do, and bringing the right people onto the team. I think people need to believe in a vision. They need to believe in their leader. They need to have a voice. They need to know that, they can come forward with any suggestions, ideas, or anything that they may have, and have a forum to relay that. I was always the kind of person who saw opportunity and saw things that maybe should change or pivot, but you never really have that channel where you can bring that forward and your voice is really never heard. I think that the other big piece is ensuring that your team understands you. They can always talk to you. There's no hidden agenda. There's no smoke and mirrors. It's very clear on the path where we're going, what we're doing, and how their role impacts the overall business strategy. And as long as everybody's on the same page and there's no surprises, and if you empower people to use their skill and do the job, I think they'll do it naturally and they'll want to excel. And, they're not going to just pop into work and, fill out spreadsheets and do a 9 to 5 and shut it off and go home and have a beer and that's the end of it. With the teams I have now, people are working all the time and it's because they like it. So yeah, I think that's the difference.
How do you go about selecting that team? How do you go about assembling that team? Do you have a formal recruitment process, or are you more of in a headhunting kind of role, looking for talent wherever you go?
Well, how I did my most recent business was more around people that I've worked with in the past, people that I know.
Yeah.
I would tap them on the shoulder and say, listen, this is what I'm looking at doing. Would you be interested in joining me on this journey? And it really goes to show that those people believed in me. And that goes a long way. We do have an HR department that goes through the typical HR, but it's really more around fit. Personality wise, culture wise, as much as it is around technical skill set, or whatever their sector is, the skill set. We can always train people, but I think getting the right people in at the right time and the right roles makes a big difference.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned before, Lance, if I can just wind back 60 seconds or so, you mentioned when you were talking about developing the team and the type of leader that you are, about sharing the vision that you have. I've spoken to other people about that topic specifically when they're talking about building the team. How do you personally, how do you align your vision with what you're trying to achieve as a company with, say, the team's vision and what they're trying to achieve for their daily life? How does that all come together in a joint environment?
Well, I think a lot of the bigger discussions happen at the executive table, where we really decide on 6-month, 12-month, 2-year, 5-year plan. But what I always do is, whether it's biweekly or monthly, is bring the whole team together and relay that information. And then in one-on-ones with the senior leaders of each department, I let them know what their role has in the part of the bigger vision. I want them to help drive that vision. It's not me sitting up top in the captain's wheelhouse steering the ship and everybody's down there working. We're all one united team. And I think if everybody believes and understands in that, you get the most out of them. And empowering your leaders to have a voice, have a say, like I said before, will allow them to send that same message to their team. And it just seems to work that everybody is aligned. And I'm not going to say it's perfect all the time. There's always bad apples and there's always churn. But, I'd say a good percentage of the time we get the right people and they stay with us for a while.
Fantastic. So, Lance, as I reached out to you, I mentioned before we clicked on the record button that we're focusing on helping people who are in that entrepreneurial space, that agency space, with their growth and with the strategies and bringing all that together. Now, I know that you've come from a marketing agency, a full-service marketing agency environment, and then you kind of bounced across to the Hey Brian media, which is exploding with, matching trades and people who need work done in their home and kind of connecting that as a service, which is incredible. What was the reason for you to make that shift between the two different areas?
Well, one is I wanted to work for myself, like I said.
Yeah.
I've always had that passion. I've always had the drive. I'd always have some type of side hustle going on. This business actually evolved from a personal problem.
Right. So many do.
I came home one day, my dishwasher was broken. We needed to get it fixed. I went through the regular channels everyone else does, and I got very frustrated and annoyed, and light bulb in my head of how can I fix this?
Nice.
Thought to myself, there must be something like an Uber for home maintenance. Looked around, yes, there's some players out there, mainly in the US, but here in Canada, there wasn't much. Saw an opportunity in a market. Fantastic. And jumped on it. And I went to some people that I knew in the industry and tapped them on the shoulder and said, hey, this is what I'm looking at doing. I can't pay you. Would you come on this journey until we can get it off the ground? We did that and brought it to where it is today. But I think Fantastic. It was always that little burning fire in me of, when is that opportunity going to come? And you got one or two choices. You can say, you know what, I can continue working for the man and punch 9 to 5 and not really enjoy what I'm doing. Or you can go all in and take a risk, and who knows, it could flop on its face or it could be extremely successful, but at least I tried.
At least you had an at-bat. So can I ask then, and connecting these two environments together, I think is a fascinating thing for our listeners. What experience and knowledge that you picked up in that kind of marketing environment has helped you grow the Hey Brian system so quickly?
Well, I understand what's needed to build a business. The reason agencies are in place is because most businesses either don't have the capital to hire those people internally, they don't have the creative knowledge, they don't have the understanding of UX and UI and development and mobile and digital. And I've gained that experience, and I know the roles that need to fit to have an all-encompassing, I don't want to say agency, but a good running business where we don't have to outsource it. Of course, there's roles that we do outsource and things that we do need, but bringing a team together that, if we need a social media campaign put together, I can basically write a quick brief to my team, and I've got all the people who can design, put copy in place, get some imagery together, and get it out.
Nice.
We know the steps that need to go behind that, and we have the people in place that can do that. So it saves us a lot of time and effort, and not relying on somebody else to come up with our vision. The last agency I was with, we were the sole agency for TELUS across Canada. We had a team of people who just repetitively put out content for TELUS, and people would get frustrated because that's all they did. Whereas the people in our office, they're doing lots of other things, and this is just part of their job.
So what's the breakup now of the team, Lance? Like how the combination of marketing, sales, admin, all of the different roles that are within the Hey Brian group. What's the breakup?
Well, we've gone through some layoffs during this whole pandemic, of course, but to give you a sense of how the organization is structured, we have our head of marketing, who handles everything from social to content to everything that's going out. We have our director of design, who is in charge of basically the vision, the brand, the look, the feel, the voice, the tone. We have UX, UI, copywriters, designers who kind of all fall under the director of design. And then we have a tech team. All of our tech is done in-house. So we have a CTO, we have Android developers, iOS developers, we have QA, we have data scientists, and then to customer service. I think is probably one of the most important parts of the business is being able to engage with your customers. And then obviously the C-suite above that. So it's a pretty diverse group, but we can do a lot of things with a very small team.
That's awesome. And so how many is that team in total?
Pre-COVID, we were at about 23.
Okay. So Can I ask you, I guess it would be remiss of me not to talk about COVID in the current situation. Hopefully this episode is timeless and we're still listening to it in 10 years. But right now in the world, as we know, there's craziness with this pandemic and it's affected every economy. Can I ask you, Lance, as a business leader, as a CEO, founder, somebody that's spoken on stages across the world about business and about growth, if we could have a time machine, go back 6 months to before the world kind of imploded with this COVID thing that's going on, what would you do differently to prepare?
I think what COVID has taught us actually has been almost, and I don't want to use this term because it's not the right term to use, but a bit of a blessing in disguise for a lot of businesses. I think this has really opened our eyes to what we can do running lean, what we can do working remotely, collaboratively, using technology to be more efficient. I think it's really opened up a lot of businesses' eyes on how we can do things and not be tied to having everybody hop in their car and commute 2.5 hours every day to go into an office. Our team is fully remote now. I used to have our head of marketing would drive an hour and a half to the office every single day and an hour and a half home. And that's 3 hours in his car, where now he's at home and he can work at any point. Yeah. Right. It's the overhead costs that we were paying in rent and, everybody wants a lavish office space and all these perks. And, I think it's really put everybody into a bit of a scenario where, if I like what I'm doing, it's almost better to be working from home because I can also focus on the important things in life. But if to go back to your question about what would I do differently if this didn't happen, I think we would continue to grow and have the opportunity to advance. But the other thing that has COVID has put on our business is it's unfortunate, but it's put people into their homes for 3.5 months. And in our business is around home maintenance and focusing on getting things done around the house. And from a consumer standpoint, people have been sitting in their house looking around saying, holy shit, I need to fix that. I need to get this done.
Seeing the cracks that they hadn't seen before. Yeah.
Right. So now we're in a good situation as we come out of this to be sort of that support mechanism. Okay, you've been stuck at home and more people are working from home. We're here to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Lance, I know that I've got limited time with you today, so I'm sorry for being kind of rapid fire question and answer, but again, I really appreciate the opportunity to do that. Can I ask you, one of the things that you mentioned was that your customer service department, as we were describing the team, you said customer service is one of the most important facets of what you're doing. As you've built the Hey Brian Media Group up to what it is right now, did you specifically drive a process for customer service into that team? Did you have a set way of dealing with customers and I guess expectations in that area?
Yeah, I think, in any gig economy or marketplace business, there's two parties. It's kind of like having two kids. You can't treat one better than the other. Yeah. We have people doing the work and we have customers who are wanting the work done. In any business, you always have to have that outlet for people to reach out if they need to, if things go wrong. And in going through my research, starting this business, I tried out some competitors and ran into tons of problems. I put in my credit card information and then got charged and I had no idea why I got charged and couldn't get a hold of anyone. And, consumers now want an outlet. Yeah. If they don't have an outlet, guess what they do? They'll tweet. Yeah. Until you respond. Yeah. So we wanted to ensure that we had a mechanism and a channel for if something's going on and something needs addressed, they have somewhere to go and there will be someone there to help them. And I learned that from companies like Amazon, for example. You have a problem with Amazon, you go on there, you dial a phone number and it calls you right back within a minute and you're on the phone with somebody. Yeah. That's what I find the differentiator between a good quality business that actually cares about the end result as opposed to somebody who's just looking for a growth story.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. So as we look at that customer service environment and talking about the outlet for making sure that your customers on two sides. I like that analogy where you in your gig economy where you have the customers who are the tradespeople and the customers who are the homeowners. So in that environment where you have your customer service team looking after those two kids fighting over the Lego, if you like, how do you make sure that it's fair on both sides? Like, have you got an overarching strategy for the company to make sure that you're keeping those kids on the growth path?
Yeah, well, when we call them experts, who are our contractors who do the work, when they sign up to our platform, they agree to a terms of service, and it's very clearly outlined our expectations of them. When they get onboarded, our customer service team actually phones them and walks them through what we expect as a business. And because our whole business model is based on ratings and reviews from our actual homeowners, it's in their best interest to do good quality work and stick to the terms of service, because if they don't, we have the right to remove them off the platform. So, it's more about coaching them on, you do good work, you're going to get a lot more of it. And we'll take care of you. If we get people who don't show up to jobs and things like that, they're not going to be on the platform very long. So we kind of have that riot act, if you want to say that, when you sign up, this is our expectation of you. And then from the homeowner side, the biggest upside to our business is, so for example, my dishwasher is broken. If I phone a dishwasher repair company out of the phone book and that guy comes out here and tries to fix my dishwasher and springs a leak and leaves, or if I get a guy off Craigslist, what's my fail safe there?
Yeah.
Can I phone a customer service on ABC Plumbing and say, I want somebody out here? We have that. And we'll cover the cost and send somebody else out.
Are we going to see Hey Brian expanding outside of the Canada area, or have you got international plans?
Yeah, we haven't publicly announced anything, but if you look at the business as a whole, it's a global opportunity. People's biggest asset is their home, and research is proving that people are staying in their homes longer. The age of construction is continuing to grow. The home maintenance sector is not going anywhere.
No, it's growing.
And when you talk about a recession or a pandemic or whatever it may be, our business is really well suited for that, because when people switch discretionary income from travel or, going out to restaurants or movies or things like that, they're going to put it back into their home right now. So, as far as expansion, we can go anywhere. There's nothing stopping us. We just want to be very good at what we do here before we decide on where we go next.
Nice. Fantastic. So Lance, again, I come back to the fact that we're doing this as an express version. So I'm going to ask you a 60
I've got about 10 more minutes. Awesome.
We'll be able to wrap up. Let me do a 60-second challenge with you if we can. One of the questions that I've asked people in the past goes like this. You catch up with someone that you haven't seen for years. They've had this kind of 9 to 5 for all of their lives. They're, mid-30s, mid-40s, whatever it might be. And they've decided to go out on their own. And to do that, they want to start their own agency. They've got the idea that they can help people with marketing and that kind of stuff. They want to grow that kind of niche business. What advice would you give to that person? What 4 or 5 different moves should they make initially to make sure they have the best launching pad moving forward?
I think the first thing is don't move too fast.
Cool.
Get a good plan. You really have to spend the time to make sure that your plan is, I don't want to say foolproof or fail safe, but know there's a need for what you're looking to do in the market. I think the second is surround yourself with smart people. For me, I'm not a lawyer. I don't have experience in finance. I don't have experience in all these areas where there's people that you need in those roles to help guide you. I think surround yourself with the right people at the right time. Grow when needed. Don't grow too fast. Ensure that you have a growth strategy in place or a business plan in place that's going to show you the steps that you need to do. I think those are the key starting points.
Yeah.
And I think the other big thing is look at the market, understand what you're getting yourself into. You don't want to go into a crowded space. You don't want to get into a scenario where you're all fighting for the same food. My thing was always find something disruptive or find something where there's a niche, where you can really go in and make an impact. And I think the biggest thing is make sure you love what you do. If you don't have a passion for it, then why would you do it? You're
going to burn out quickly. Can I do a follow-up challenge with you? Okay, so let's say you've done the plan, you've got the strategy, you've got connected to the right people. Here's my challenge to you. I give you 5 days to land 3 clients. How would you go out and get your first 3 clients in a rapid fire way?
Be honest.
Cool. Nice.
Let them know that you're doing this, you're starting, and they're going to be your first clients, and you called them for a reason. Let them know the difference between you and your competitors. Yeah, you care. You're not a massive agency with a massive overhead, and they're just another client. Let them give you a shot, and maybe you do it at a discount, maybe you do it for free, but prove yourself and make sure you align yourself with someone who's willing to jump in the pool with you. There's lots of companies out there who are looking for that. They're scared to go to a massive global agency and looking for a little boutique shop that's, looking to do something on a whim and do maybe one campaign at a time and prove your worth and then grow that relationship.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Lance, thanks so much. I know you are a keynote speaker around the world, again, on business and on growth. How can people best keep in touch with you and what you're talking about? I noticed that you've got the, your Twitter handle, Montgomery Lance?
Yeah.
No, yes. Montgomery Lance on Twitter. What's the best way that people can follow along with what you're doing?
They can either hit me up on Instagram, Lance_Montgomery, or on Twitter, or they can email me at lance@heybrian.com. Any social media channel. I'm on LinkedIn as well, so hit me up and reach out that way.
Fantastic. Lance, thank you so much for the short fire, rapid express version. I absolutely love it. There's some real gems in there. I wish you all the best. I look forward to seeing the Hey Brian group and exploding around the world. And again, thank you for the time. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. Thanks very much.
Cheers, man.